Call this meeting Fayette County Commissioners order. We'll start with pledging allegiance to the flag.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the last meeting. You've had a chance to review the minutes. Is there any additions or corrections?
Mr. President, I recommend we accept the minutes as presented.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Department head reports. Highway Department, Mr. Havlin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We've been pretty busy improving intersections. We've been doing some ditching. We're trying to get, we've got some berming to do. As soon as it dries out enough, we can get the grader out there and sod loader out there. We'll start berming where we left off to get around before we start chip sealing. And I've got crews out patching, trying to get all the holes filled before we start chip sealing. So we've been pretty busy.
Got plenty of holes to fill.
Plenty of holes to fill. It seems like they grew this last snow.
Right.
But, I've got one thing to ask. I'd like to bring another part-time person in. I've got the money there for to help the sign guy, so I don't take my people off other projects to help him on doing these railroad crossings and stuff. And then I can use him for mowing too on top of that, if that's all right.
What's the wishes of the other two?
You say you have it in your budget? You have it in
Yes,
your
and
budget?
I'm using money because I've got one guy that's off hurt, and I'm using money out of his line item to help fund the part-time for the guy that's replacing him right now, so that'll free money up for another.
How many hours, Jay?
Probably 40 hours a week because it's seasonable. We use them as long as we can through the summer, then we quit. We let them go. Like I said, when it starts mowing, I'll need somebody out on a mowing tractor, and that frees my other people up for other projects.
You've got one man off.
I've got one man off hurt, and he's already been off, I think, 8 weeks, and he's going to go past 12 weeks, and they're not sure when he's going to
So
come
money
back.
just taking
So
place.
his money be freed up for part-time too. If I can
Just
use
taking
it.
place of the man that's off.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have a problem.
Take your recommendation.
I'll talk to the council about it tonight then, make sure everything's all right to go on.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Make sure.
Maintenance, Bill Gray.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I don't have a whole lot. The last time I was here, you okayed the boiler, and it's all fixed and taken care of. Everything's up and running. I got the pod glass in Thursday, right before Good Friday. We got 3 of them to put in. These are the pod glasses in the jail, in the pod area. The big glasses, they're, I don't remember what they measure, about 150 pounds a piece. There's 3 of them. So it'll take us probably, we're going to start on it tomorrow.
Okay.
It would take us the rest of the week to get that in. That's
So
all
the
I have.
jail's pretty good shape there now.
Yeah, dishwasher's up, running, everything seems to be okay with it. We're doing a little bit of adjusting on the chemicals, which is normal, but it's running good. They're doing.
They haven't got started on the showers yet, they don't.
They're over now.
Are they?
Yeah, they come and done some measurements. I don't know what they're doing this morning. They were going in as I was leaving, so I'll find out. But yeah, they're getting ready to start on those.
Good.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
IT Director, Ben Houston.
Jerry. Good morning.
Morning.
You have in front of you a couple of quotes for a network infrastructure upgrade. A few months ago, I was approached by Matt Shirk in the health department. He had been awarded a grant for emergency and disaster preparedness, and they weren't sure exactly how they would wish to spend that. We talked about some ways that we could do some network infrastructure upgrades to help with preparedness. That grant was approved. So what you have in front of you are 2 quotes for securing that equipment. Again, this is a grant and it is outside of any budget. You have one from Global and then one from CEI. The quotes are completely identical in parts, and then the first quote was for $16,957.56. The second quote is for $17,843.03. So to to move forward with the grant, I need your approval to purchase the equipment.
I'll make a motion to approve the equipment with the grant.
With which bid?
The one for 16,957.56.
Question. Ben, this company's out of Atlanta, do they have, you're going to maintain everything and it won't be anything where they would have to do warranty work or anything like that? It'd be strictly you?
The parts are under warranty, but by the manufacturer, not by the company we're purchasing from.
Okay.
But no, there is no ongoing maintenance associated with this purchase. These are all things that I maintain on a daily basis.
And
Anyway.
you will do the installation?
I will be doing the installation, correct.
Okay. Second motion.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the cheaper of the two quotes. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. That's all I have for you.
Okay, thanks, Ben. County Attorney? AJ? Got anything for us?
Nothing on the agenda, really.
Okay, thank you. Council Representative Shirley, you got anything for us?
I think like you, we're working towards the capital plan.
Okay. EDG Representative Pete?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll begin with good news. We confirmed yesterday that Tractor Supply will be moving into the old Low Bills building. They're running an ad now for a manager for that facility. So while our role is a support role, we're glad to see them coming in, and hopefully it will bring a few jobs to Fayette County.
Where were they going? I'm sorry.
The old Low Bill building.
Okay. Sorry.
The folks that own the complex are also working with another company, but that has not confirmed yet to move into the Fashion Bug space. I know these aren't manufacturing jobs, they're retail jobs, but they're jobs.
But they are jobs.
Yeah. In addition to that, I received an email last Friday. I'm not at liberty to give the name because the contract has not been signed, but there is a verbal commitment to another retailer moving into the old Frank Farm space, and that should happen. I think they're going to start destruction within the month, tearing down the facility and coming out of the ground with the new building. So again, not manufacturing jobs, but jobs. Project DRSNOF continues to progress. I think within the next few days there should be some sort of an agreement reached on that project. Project JET, the folks are coming, you confirm that?
They're gonna call today and they're gonna let us know when, but it should be within the week.
Okay. And Project Maury, we continue to have conversations with those. Those are the folks we went out and met with in New Jersey. We completed the K&K Electric project, and that's about it, except the Regional Economic Development Initiative that Shirley and Barton were involved in. We're going to continue with that, and they're going to be meeting on April 12th. Questions?
Did you skip over Project R, or did I just?
Oh, I'm sorry. Project R, we can take off. Project R was a store that's similar to Tractor Supply on a larger scale. Obviously, with Tractor Supply coming, Project R is not going to come.
Thank you.
We have any mail? No mail? Is Judge Butch here?
Was.
They
I think they had said she had a hearing at 9 and she wouldn't last too long, but she might be down about 9:30.
Well,
so you could-
we'll just go on and get to her when she gets here. Next item on the agenda is cemetery mowing bids. We was late getting the advertisement out for the mowing bids. They are out and they're due in the day before our next meeting this month, and we will award those contracts at that time.
Mr. President,
Yes.
may I speak on a matter of old business?
Yes.
Reference to the railroad presentation that was given to us last time. After the last meeting, when the Geist family and friends and neighbors were here, I went to work and I discussed the meeting with some of my fellow officers. One of them, Carol McQueen, picked something up off the internet. To make a long story short, the Indiana Department of Transportation, and some of you may know this, as a representative who's a liaison with railroads. And I called this gentleman, and he basically told me that to install lights at that location, and the information from the internet, it could cost as much as $250,000. That can be paid for, 1, by the railroad, 2, by the railroad and the road authority, which in Indiana will be the commissioners, 3, from grant sources. Indiana this year received $7 million from the federal government for this type of construction. So obviously, assuming each project does cost $250,000, there are only 28 projects in the state of Indiana that will get done this year. The gentleman told me, and he didn't say it in these words, but basically what he told me was that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. That and areas that have high statistics of injuries and or death. He also gave me the name of another gentleman to contact, and I have as yet not contacted him. But we're not sitting still on this. I have made some direction toward it, but and I've informed Barton, and I think I told Zane what I found out too. So we're still working on the situation to see what, if anything, we can do. Thank you.
New business. Bridge 61, Jericho.
Papers, I'll give you first as you look at. What I was asking for was proposal on construction, inspection construction on Bridge 61. In other words, when they're building the bridge, have an inspector there part-time on the critical parts of the bridge when they're being constructed. So I asked for a proposal from Butler Fairman to Seifert, and then last week Jim came in, and he wanted to present, Jim Reese came in, he wanted to present a proposal from Certified Engineering. So what you've got is two proposals, one from Butler, Fairman, and Seifert, and the other one from Certified Engineering. And so that's what you've got there. The Butler, Fairman, and Seifert's proposal is not to exceed $13,000, and Certified Engineering proposal is to do it for a lump sum of $11,000. Do you have any? Do you understand what you're looking at? Construction inspection is where they come out during the construction of the bridge, and at vital points in that construction, they inspect what's being done. Or if I feel like something else needs to be looked at, they come and look at that also. And what I'm trying to do, we're trying to let a bid on Bridge 61, which is on 350 East, for construction of a new bridge to replace the one that's there now. And that'll be let sometime this summer. I'm not sure exactly what time that'll be let, but I want to get all my ducks in a row before I get to that letting. So when I let that project, I'll have this all en route to be done, in line to be done.
Okay.
All right. That's what this is about. So this morning, what you'll do is look at this and determine which one you think you want to do the work, and make a motion to that effect. Now you can table it and look at it more if you want to, or you can do it now, however you want to do it. It's up to you. That's at your pleasure.
Well, you feel that both of these organizations
I'd say
are
they're both
competent in
competent.
the
Yes,
job, right?
they're both competent. Robin Warner, who's doing my inspection now on Bridge 82, he's done Bridge 81 and Bridge 45. He'd be the one doing the inspection for Butler, Fairman, and Seifert. And him and Jim Reese know each other very well. He said Jim would do a fine job too. He has no problem with Jim doing the job. I've talked to Jim. Him and Mr. Warner are good friends, and they've worked together in the past. They both worked for Indiana State Highway Commission doing bridge inspections and road inspections. That's what they've both done. So I don't think you're going to, as far as the inspectors themselves, and that's the two guys that be doing the inspectors. I think it's pretty even.
Butler is doing the engineering on the bridge, is that correct?
Yes, right now they're doing inspection on Bridge 82, which is at Village Creek.
I don't see the cost on the Butler,
It's over.
Fairman, and Seifert. Well, I've looked through here.
You said it was 13,000, didn't you, Drew?
Yeah.
Not to exceed.
But it's not on here.
It's not here.
No, they didn't put a price on it here.
Is it 13,000 even?
Yes.
13,000 maximum.
Not to exceed of 13,000.
Well, wait a minute, let me look. I've got another project that they're doing. I may have got given you the wrong information there at the start. That may be the problem. All right, I'll give you the second thing I was going to do first. So
Okay.
I messed up.
Oh, yeah, this is Bridge 43.
Yeah.
You were talking Bridge 61.
That's my fault. My fault. I gave you the wrong
Put that one on hold.
Yeah, put that one on hold. This is the one you should be looking at. Sorry about that. Make sure I give you, yep, that's it. Make sure I got the right one. It's in that top paragraph up there. Go look at that top paragraph. Yep. That was my fault.
Same figures up here.
Yes, same thing. It's just, I give them the wrong papers for it. So that was my fault. If they want to speak to it, Jim's sitting here, if he wants to speak to his proposal, and Mike Walter's sitting here, he can speak to his proposal. So if they want to get up and speak to it, that's their option. No? Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
My suggestion is, we have confidence in both Butler and Jim Reese. Jim's had a lot of experience in building bridges. Butler has the engineering, and Jim is a Fayette County resident, so I think it would be appropriate to divide this up and give Jim Reese the contract for the inspecting.
I don't know, he does have a lot of white hair, Mr. Preston.
That's the best platinum.
Well, maybe that correlates into experience. I don't know. I don't have a problem with either one of them, but just for the fact that Jim is a Fayette County resident, would be helping our own people, and Butler does have the contract for doing the engineering, so they're gonna get a big piece of the pie too.
Mr. President, I will move to accept the proposal from Certified Engineering for a quote lump sum price of $11,000 even.
Second?
Been moved and second to accept the certified quote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The second one I've got, thank you, by the way. The second one I've got here is on Bridge 43, which is on Williams Road. It's just east, about a quarter of a mile from Bridge 45, which is, if you know.
The one we just did?
Well, yeah, Bridge 45 is the one we just done on Williams, actually on Snyder Road, right there at the intersection of Williams Road. And this is about a quarter of a mile back to the east of that, right there by Bischoff's house right there. You stand at Bischoff's house, look down and see. It's 3 round pipes right there. You go through like a chicane when you go through the bridge, right?
Is it east of Lawrence's house or west?
West.
Okay.
Yeah, west right there. Yeah, you probably know where it's at. And I have played with that for the past 3 years, trying to figure out what to do with that. And it's such an odd crossing there that I've asked some other people to look at it, and I've asked Butler Fairman to look at it and come up with some kind of design for it. And that's what that first one I give you is for. And actually, we're going to be doing it. They've got a bunch of things listed in there that actually we're going to be doing this on an hourly basis. So those things are all fine and dandy, but what it boils right down to is whatever I decide I want to do is what we're going to do. Because it's a design project, is what it is. So I'd like to do that because I'd like to get that built yet this summer if I could. Get that out of my hair. I don't have much hair to get out of, but
So what do we need to do with that?
yeah. So if you'd make a motion on it, I would appreciate it. Have any questions, just fire them.
Was there a cost with that one?
Well, they have some costs on there, but it basically is going to be an hourly rate. Yeah, is what it's going to boil down to. So anything I have done, they're just going to charge for the hour. And it's under our general services contract that we already have with them. So you won't be signing a new contract. It's just on an hourly basis. That's what it's going to be.
So what's your wishes?
Do you have any idea, Jerry, of how long you think it would take? A ballpark figure, I mean.
Well, they have a ballpark figure in there, I think, but that's just, I think it's about $50,000 is what they had in there, if I remember right, but, or something to that effect. But that's if they go through everything that's on that list and do everything exactly the way they state in that letter. But that's not what necessarily might happen. What I want them to do is to do everything on an hourly basis. That way I can control what's going on. Okay. So if I want something done, I can say, let's go ahead with that stage. If I think that stage is not necessary, then we'll skip it and go to something different down the road. Okay. So in essence, it's just whatever I determine it to be. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Any other questions?
Need a motion, Mr. President?
Yes.
I will move to accept Mr. Gilman's recommendation for the work to be done on County Bridge number 43 on an hourly basis, with him controlling the actual work to be done.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept your recommendation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Community Correction, Michelle Dudley, is she here?
We have been having some issues at the Community Corrections building with the plumbing. I've had to change over half of the water faucets out in the building. They're all the motion censored ones. And those are $600 a faucet to replace versus $90 just to put one that you turn on. So Lance has just been getting the faucets as they go down and putting the new ones on. Then the shower banks went down, nothing but cold water. And then you could flush the toilet and get nothing but hot water. So I had pals down. It took them 2 days, 2 guys, and the bill was approximately $1,700 just to get going again. There is a mixer valve up there that controls the hot and cold water mixing. Those valves alone are $1,200 to replace. That building was built and they did not put a water softener in. They took 2 5-gallon buckets of lime out, and this was actually iron buildup, and I broke it in half, but you can see where it was in the pipe at the mixer valve. So we need to put a water softener in, and I got 3 estimates. Powell's gave an estimate for a 150,000 grain commercial water softener completely installed with the salt to start it up at $6,949.16. I also got an estimate from Lanehart's Water Care, and their estimate was $2,700 just for the softener, which would be a 75,000 grain, half the size. Labor, they would not give me a quote on labor. They just said it would be 2 men at $30 an hour plus the actual cost of the copper marked up 15% with proof of cost. I contacted them, and Lance did too, I told him I need a dollar figure, not just what it's going to be per hour. They said they cannot give us an estimate. It'd probably run close to whatever the others were. Also got estimates from Culligan. They sent 3 different estimates down. Didn't tell how many grains the water softener was or anything, and they ranged from about 4,000 to 6,000. I took it in front of my advisory board yesterday, and they recommend that we go with Powell's at the $6,949.16. The money for it will have to come out of my community transition program funds. They approved that yesterday to pay for it. So I just need a motion from you guys to go ahead and get it. It'll come out of the CTP funds. Right now I have, I think, around 102,000 in there. That fund is only used for non-budgeted items that my advisory board would approve.
Okay, give me, you got a softener, you got a mixer upstairs, correct? And a water heater. That those are the 3 things that you're giving us the.
No, that estimate is for the softener only. They were there 2 days. It was a $1,700 bill. Getting that going, they actually saved that valve. They had to put a couple parts in it, and they cleaned everything out. I had them run the chemical through that would dissolve what lime they didn't get out of the water heater, which was a little pricey too. It was about $400, but if those chips started flowing through that valve again. So they did save the valve, but we're going to have to do this continually if we don't put a water softener in.
So was Powell's the best price?
They were right in the ballpark, but they all gave, I don't know what Lanehart's was, because they won't.
We really don't have quotes on apples to apples. You know,
Right.
Maybe what we ought to do is write up our specifications, what we want, and give it to everybody, and then get a price on that.
We gave them the average water usage, which we got from the water company, and that's what they all came up with. Lanehart will not give the labor estimate. And Colligan, I don't know what, that one was hard to read. I asked Bill to come over and he did Thursday. He was supposed to be here today to help explain that. He recommended that we go with PALS. That's kind of all Greek to me. I can understand PALS, it was pretty simple, but. And it's gonna have to go in, because everything's upstairs, it's gonna have to go downstairs. There is one closet where the water mains come into the building on the lower floor. So whatever they put in is gonna have to fit in that closet.
Right. And these three here are the only people that we asked to give a bid, right?
Yes.
Is your need, is it fair to say that your need is immediate?
I'd like to get in as soon as we can, because the more of that line that's going through those valves, we still got one bank of showers down because we're waiting on parts. They were there last night. I'm not sure if they got those up or not.
My problem is we're not, everybody's not bidding on the same thing, and there's other vendors in town.
All three came down, all three of those came down and looked at what we had and what they estimated what size softener we would need for the water usage. And I told them the water usage is only going to go up. I mean, they've had at least low as 6 people in there last year. Right now I'm running steadily 17 to 20 all the time. And I'm looking for that figure to go up. I've met with the judges from out of county, and we're getting some out of county people in now, so I look for our head count over there is going to go up. Right. So I think we need to go with as large as we can. The capacity over there is 56 beds.
So did you say Lane Hart's came there, walked through your facility, and Colligan came through and walked through your facility, and Powell's came through and walked through the facility?
Yes.
And okay.
What you're saying is we should shop around more? Is that basically?
Well, that's what I think. I've had an idea for quite a while that we should have a vendor list for people in the county that they could sign up for what they do, what their business is, what services they can provide, and then when we have a need for a plumber or this or whatever, we go down that list and we notify these people that we have this opportunity to come and give everybody a chance to put a quote in on the project.
That sounds fair.
If this is an emergency deal, we have to do it, but at least in the future, I would like to make sure we shop around. Everybody in the community get a chance to perform the work for the county that wants to, that's qualified.
So you're replacing the faucets with just the turn-on faucets?
Yes. Okay. And just the price of the faucet, no labor, because my assistant's been putting them on.
Okay.
And this is coming out of your community,
CTP funds.
Community transition funds.
Yes.
And you think the need is immediate? We can't wait another 2 weeks?
I feel that it is, because every week something is going wrong on the plumbing over there, And my board has to approve any money coming out of there. They approved the PALS bid yesterday. They don't meet for 3 months again. My board meets quarterly.
I say we go ahead and do it just because we're gonna run into more cost problems. I mean, that lime is nasty. It'll just cause more damage to other things, but I'm with you on getting bids later on down the road with.
I'll move that we accept the PAL bid.
I'll second.
I would go along with that in that, you know, we've already had the prices out on the table, so it'd be hard to take bids from somebody else, put the ones that did bid at a disadvantage. But like I say, in the future, I think we need to do it a little bit different. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. President, I would also move, in reference to your recommendation, that we make contact with local vendors for plumbing and or anything else that you think is appropriate, Mr. President, to actually make a vendor list for us to choose from, or excuse me, to be used from.
Okay.
Local, yeah.
We'll make that a formal motion.
So moved.
Second.
We moved and seconded that we start a vendor list for the people who want to do business in Fayette County so that we make sure that nobody gets left out. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Here, take your line back.
I understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why.
well, there's a lot of people that should have. Cemetery Commission, Mr. Westerfield. Oh,
Wait.
Beth?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get her in here
Ben's
real
Beth's
quick.
here, and she's got a busy schedule. We'll let Beth go ahead.
Thank you. I guess I'm back here because I spoke to you 2 weeks ago about the juvenile detention contracts, expressed to you how I wanted to use, just on a limited basis, Warrenly, who costs just a little bit more for certain cases, and I think we gave the county attorney the contracts to look at. So,
Yes, Your Honor.
do I have your approval for that?
The contracts are pretty road. You had said they are the same thing.
They are. They're identical. I actually took it upon myself during the last 2 years when I was on the bench to review those contracts and tweak them myself for the benefit of the county. So that's the contract that we've been using that I looked at in 2011 but kind of fixed a little bit. Okay. It's the same one that you have been signing.
Yeah. Okay. You guys don't actually need my recommendation to do it, but that's fine.
But you have to be the ones to sign it. I cannot sign it and bind the county. Only the commissioners can. So you would need to, and Warrenly, you'll notice if you look at that contract, it's very brief. All it says is, we agree to use them. There's no number of days in there at all. We're not bound to anything except what the cost is per day, which I actually like because we're going to use them on a limited basis. That's all it says, but they want that in writing. So that's all the Warrenly contract says. The other contract with Cedar Bridge is identical to what has been signed the past 2 years, except the price has gone up slightly.
So basically, with Warrenly, you're wanting the flexibility, even though it costs more, to be able to put a juvenile there because of the adjunct social and counseling capabilities for a child that may have a special problem or special needs. Is that right?
That's exactly right,
Okay.
and it would be on a limited basis, and it's because of the continuity of care. If it's a troubled child, you could move them from one section of Warrenly right over to the other section instead of transferring them to a different facility, trying to make sure their medication gets there with them. We've had that problem in the past, so that's why.
I think we pretty much agreed the last meeting that was a proper thing to do if the contracts passed AGA's muster.
I will move to accept both contracts with Cedar Bridge and with Warrenly.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen,
Thank
and
you, Beth.
I'll ask you, or Andrew, I'll ask you to have those contracts executed, and if you'll get me a copy, I'll make sure they get to the proper people.
Yes, Judge.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Now, Mr. Westerfield. Morning.
Thank you.
What you have in front of you is a business card and an identification badge. Of course, it's blown up. As you can see, the badge would be this size here. Of course, a business card, standard business card. It's just blown up. And we are asking for your approval, if that is okay. Then that way we can identify the landowners, who we are, and what we're there for. And that's just what that is there. The letterhead itself, we came up with a letterhead for the reasons of several things. When we was getting bids on equipment, a business had asked if we had a letterhead and they would give us equipment at their cost. And possibly some of it be wrote off if we gave an estimate or gave our equipment on a letterhead. So that's why we came up with that. And we are asking for your approval if that's okay with you guys that we use that.
It's just identify who they are, when the car's parked alongside the wall.
And just to let you know that those business cards and ID tags, we have a commitment from American Printing that they will donate that.
I have no problem with what you present to us. It's neat, clean, it meets, yeah.
When I
excuse me,
started out, but
meets the requirements. You're identified, you've got a telephone number and an email address.
Now the only thing I would suggest, I just noticed it, the tag that hangs in your vehicle,
Yes.
so it's sitting alongside the road and people know who you are when they go by.
Yes.
That if you have a cell phone, I would put that on there just in case an officer needs to get a hold of you, if somebody's hit your car, or just a suggestion, but. Or they need you to move it for whatever reason, and you're way back at the field messing with the cemetery, you know.
I think that's an easy fix. I agree with that.
I don't have any problem with the letterhead, the business card.
Good man.
I don't think we need a motion for that. You know, that's fine.
Okay.
It's fine with us, Mr.
Okay,
Westfield.
also, bring up, we would like to have your approval with, to have the use of the old cemetery building. I know that there's been some looking at it and stuff, and just the part that was used last. As far as electric and stuff being turned on, we don't need that right now for the summer. We will need it for storage of equipment, you know, for the county's equipment. We would need it during the colder months, from when we go to restore stones, etc.
Well, is the cemetery, are the members of the cemetery commission counting on restoring stones instead of hiring Mr. Walters or somebody like that to do the restoration work?
We will help. Now, as far as getting all that done, I don't think that we have the expertise, or will we even come close to the expertise of John. I think helping will help. We want to know, we want the knowledge, and, you know, if we can do 1 or 2 per member, you know, that's a great help to him as well, and to the county for not having to pay extra, you know, contracts out for that. But with all the damage that is out there, and we just got a fraction of what we've seen so far, there's a lot of damage to stones. Whether it's, you know.
Last year, we took two, I think it was two cemeteries and restored the stones in those two cemeteries. Is that what the thought is now, taking one cemetery at a time and getting it fixed up?
That's what we're working on at this time is our priority list. Our first priority is to get them cleaned up, make them presentable.
Right.
That's our first priority. Then we're going in and prioritize the stones, etc. Make sure that we properly do the correct, you know, measurements to where the location is before we remove it. Then that way we know it's going exactly back in the same place that we removed it from.
Well, as I recall, last year, Mr. Walters, he restored the stones at the cemetery. He didn't remove them.
Well, that's because he has the equipment to take it on site. Yeah, he has all that equipment. We have none. Okay, so that's why we said one or two. We don't want to overwhelm the building with dozens of stones. Just one or two at a time. Get them done. Bring them back. Now, if we had the equipment to do that, that's a different story. And we are educating ourselves on that matter, so we can do that.
I went with Mr. Nichols yesterday, and some of those cemeteries are in bad shape. I mean, there's stones that it's a puzzle piece just trying to figure out putting them back together and who's what and who's where. And some of those are, most of them are around 1860. So I mean, they've been there a long time, you know. So it's going to take some work.
Yeah, some of them, just depending on the damage, some of it will have to be removed to a different location so you can set it up in different phases. It's something that you're not going to be able to fix right there on the site. Some of them are, you know, with minimal fractures, etc. But some of them you will have to remove and take to a location that's, you know, climate controlled, etc. to get that stone back in
The only thing I will say, and I'm just bringing this up because we can just clear the air. Right now, that building up there, the lights are off, the heat's off. As soon as you turn the lights on and the heat on, we got to pay the bill. So, I mean, it's just, that's going to come up, so we might as well just get that out there. So,
yeah, and right now, we're not asking for you guys to turn on the electric and stuff. We will be getting equipment. We would like to have some place to store it. That had come up.
Equipment such as?
Such as shovels, rakes, weed eaters, things that we need to prune the cemeteries first. Restoring the stones will come later. We need the most important stuff to prune up the cemeteries at this time. Whether it be saws for, you know, just pruning saws, because a lot of them have a lot of seedlings in them. It's something you just can't pull up or cut down with a weed eater. You know, just the basic equipment to do, you know, lawn work, etc.
I see here where you've got a transfer request in for to take to the council. Before we do that, should we not have a list of what you want and some quotes on what it is you want to buy, and for us to approve before you do that?
We do have some estimates which will be presented to the council this evening, I believe. Mr. Nichols has that. Due to the, we have to ask for the money to go to a different line, but due to the morning here, and Mr. Nichols could probably get up, I don't know if he's got his stuff, and present that to you, but seeing that we have to have that money approved first to a different line this evening, we figured that we'd have to come back later this month and present that to you with the estimates. It's like step one is at 6 o'clock.
Well, the figure I see down here seems like a lot of money for weed eaters and shovels. But I don't.
Yeah, I think a lot of that cost is with all the restoration equipment and stuff as well.
I've seen the list of what you're asking for. Some of it's wiring for fixing fence, like what barbed wire fencing and stuff like that, because some of the cemeteries we went to yesterday, all they have is a barbed wire fence going around them. And some of that's got to be repaired. We went to one yesterday where a tree had fallen down and took out one whole section of fence. David cut it up into several sections, you know, trying to get it back. But the stuff on that, you can't take I know we have to see the list, but I've seen the list, it's not just, so we'll have to take copies of those, or they'll have to take copy of those and bring them in. I know what you're saying, though. I understand what you're saying. You gotta see a list of what they're asking for. So, if you can get a copy of that, and we can make copies.
And the reason why we're getting it all at once is, to my understanding, it's a one-shot deal. You know, to get everything at once. I don't know. We're just being prepared as far as if that's the case.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, we meet every 2 weeks. We don't have to spend the money that we think we're going to need until we need it.
That's great.
I don't understand what you're talking about restoration equipment.
Well, there's certain things. I mean, we just can't, all of us can't just pick up a stone that weighs 400 pounds and pick it up and put it back on top of the thing. I mean, there's like tripods. And that's just something you can't go in the store and buy.
You know, my suggestion on the restoration has been, we've been using Mr. Wolders and thinks he's the expert in it, for him to come in with you and explain to us about what we're going to do about the restoration of the cemeteries. Yes, sir. Sure.
Mr. Walters is going to give us 3 classes on stone cleaning, restoration. Now, I've already worked with him last time, and I've already seen some of the equipment that he uses. That's what I put on the bid sheet. That equipment is for cleaning, polishing, and restoration of the stone. What we don't know yet is, until we take the classes, is the type of materials that you use in stone restoration. The caulks, the compounds that you use, and where to buy them. So we'll know more about that once we have the classes at the end of this month. And plus, we're going to take classes in Indy for stone restoration and the legal part of cemeteries.
The legal part is what you're going to take classes about in
Indy,
Indianapolis?
well, we have to pay for those. And so not everything is going to be we use.
Well, I mean, I don't have no idea, but I haven't seen it. That's the reason I'm asking.
And we have nothing to base on because we didn't get any records from the old cemetery commission. So I'm having to guess at what kind of tools we're going to need.
Well, as far as I know, the other cemetery commission didn't do any of that.
Well, the maintenance guy did, and they took possession of his records, 20 years of records from his office when he resigned.
They are in here. The records are in the commissioner's office back there.
The other thing that you said about the stone restoration, I mean, I don't know if I'm out of line here when I say this, but if he's going to teach you how to do it, you know, teach the cemetery commission on how to do it, I mean, basically we're going to get it done for free, and we're not paying any more contracting work. That's not bad.
He made a point that, like with Old Orange, he wanted to finish it out. He says, do you guys want to do that, or do you want me to go ahead and bid it? So he is with the idea that we are going to take over the stone restoration.
For myself, excuse me, for myself, I'm not in it for any monetary gain. I'm volunteering. What we could offset any money that gets paid out for contract is going to help. It really is. Am I saying that we won't need him? No, I'm not saying that. I mean, he's done a lot of good work, and you know, I mean, it's really worth it. Now, would he like to do it? I'm sure he would. But his services are needed elsewhere too, and he'll go elsewhere. I mean, he's that good. Like I said, speaking for myself, I'm not in it for a monetary gain. I'm doing it as a service. Okay, you know, it's just something that I want to do. And the equipment stuff is, David got with John as far as all the equipment that he would need for restoration. You know, I mean, if he was to go into a full restoration workshop at this time. I think our priority right now is to start getting them cleaned up. Get them cleaned up, get them presentable. and then we can start with the
Load
restoration.
and trim, you're talking
Right,
about.
get them
Yeah, I agree with
presentable,
that.
get them ready for the contractors that, you know, that's all they can do is go in there and mow. They don't have to pick up the stuff and have to worry about that. I know the last contractor did it, he went above and beyond his means of cleaning up some of the stuff that could have been done by us volunteers. Which leads me into volunteers. Believe it or not, we have a lot of people that's very interested in volunteering their services as well. I've met with local civic groups, veterans groups, and the response is overwhelming. It really is. So I believe that we're going to get a lot of help, and we need the equipment to provide to them to help us.
That reminds you again, when we're talking about volunteers, that the insurance company has to have the name of all those people before they go out, or for us to have insurance on them.
And Debbie did mention that to us, and we will comprise a list and get that to Debbie. Yes, we understand that. And then that way she has that master list of all the volunteers, and that's where we're at. Not only is Mr. Walters holding a free workshop for local residents only, we will get the volunteers from that time and her and get it to Ms. Kidd. And we are also going to hold a meeting prior to that, anybody that's interested, so we can go ahead and get names and get that started as well. Like I said, we've got local civic groups from 4-H to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that are just waiting to help.
Yeah, and the community corrections over here, if you
Yes,
remember,
which
volunteered
Mr.
there
Jackson had
helping.
mentioned at a earlier meeting that he has spoke with Ms. Dudley on that.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
she'd be glad to help you out.
I mean, it's a new excitement. And we're taking it more than that. We want to educate children in the schools on why it's important to preserve these cemeteries, why it's important not to go in and damage them.
Right.
You know, we've got a lot of that going on now. So it's all new to us, and I think we're going in the right direction. We do need your direction as well. I mean, we're here for you guys.
Right. We would appreciate that.
So as far as the volunteers, we're on board on that. We just got to get it. We're waiting for the weather. That's pretty much all it is right now.
Well,
I think it's going to hit next week.
Yeah.
At our next meeting, we'll have our bids on our mowing. People that want to do the mowing will know where they're at and what they're willing to do at what price, and then we can go on with what you want to do. Maybe we can resolve all that at the same time.
Right. In the next couple of meetings, we will have a better, accurate description for you as far as cemeteries, priority list. All of us commissioners have been going out to cemeteries. We've been taking pictures. We've been trying to get a priority list together for the cleanup, what's more important.
I think it's great.
So
yeah,
we'll have that information better for you guys and better details.
Okay. Well,
Thanks, Lynn.
Any other questions?
No, we'll see you at the next meeting, and we'll have a better idea of what we're doing, I think.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Tourism Board appointments. It's come to my attention that we have a vacancy on the Tourism Board, that Mr. McQuinley's time was up. He would like to be back on there again, and we have another name of Brad Wilson who would be willing to serve on there. So we need to decide, make an appointment for that. We can do that today, or we can wait till think about it and do it at our next meeting, whatever your wishes are.
So you got to appoint them both, or just the one?
No, we have one appointment to it. We have two people that would be willing to do it. So Mr. McQuinley has been on it. His time is up. So he told me he would like to stay on it, and a name was given to me of Brad Wilson, who's the insurance man. He would like to be on it. So if you want to decide on one of the two, if you want to think about it till the next meeting, that would be fine too. Okay. You want to just put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
Table.
That's what we'll do. capital plan, we had all intentions of having our capital plan done. That should have been done the first of the year. We had a meeting last Friday for our attorney to tell us what we can use that money for in the from the edit tax. I don't know whether we cleared the air or maybe more controversy. The problem we have, the commissioners make the capital plan and the council has to appropriate the money, so we have to have some sort of agreement for it to work. It needs done, and we'll have that capital plan ready for the next meeting in April. The commissioners put it together and hope that we can get the consensus of the council to fund it. Is there anything else you did want to bring up about your insurance?
The Personnel Advisory Committee that's comprised of Shirley Wise and Barton Barker as President of Commissioners, the Sheriff, and myself have discussed making recommendations to changes that were brought up before, and I meant to have a written proposal for you, but we do want to proceed with changing the policy in two areas. One, where it discussed about recalled employees, and the second was to provide for employees that are 65 and older, to provide them a stipend in lieu of health insurance so that they can purchase a Medicare supplement. And I told Barton that I think the best idea is to have Kent Irwin, who is our advisor in personnel matters, suggest the writing and where that needs to be in our personnel policy, and then to get that to AJ so that you can write so that we can get an ordinance written amending the personnel policy. And I would like to have that at the next meeting. Do you think that would work, AJ?
Yeah, I think that would be fun. I think though on the record today you should explain why the Medicare. I mean, why that's...
Well, the reason we're thinking about giving a stipend to buy Medicare insurance instead of on the county insurance, we've had representatives from Humana down here for one, and we can actually pay for their Medicare, for their supplement insurance, and they'll have as good or better than what we have now at a huge savings to the county.
We calculated when the man from Humana was down here, we did a calculation on one employee.
On me.
Yeah, and it ended up being almost a $10,000 a year savings to the county for the county's cost of it. But that would mean that the employee that was 65 and over would be responsible for picking up they get Part A automatically. They would be responsible for picking up Part B in the Medicare. Then it would be the supplement plus the prescription drug coverage. So even doing those things, and we have checked with State Board of Accounts, they will not take an audit exception to us doing that. The idea is to make the employee whole with what other employees have. Now, there are going to be a few employees that are that age that may not be able to go on the plan because their spouse, if their spouse is on the plan with them and their spouse isn't 65 yet, then they wouldn't be able to leave our insurance plan so that they could have coverage for their spouse or for any other dependents they may have on the plan. So, but even if you had even if you had a few, it's well worth the cost savings that could be provided. Plus, I believe they would, they probably at that point would not pay, for sure would not pay as much out of pocket as would the employees on our current insurance plan.
So it's a win for the county and a win for the employees, both, it would seem.
The reason we have to pay them, would have to pay them a stipend to do that is because the people that do these supplemental plans will not bill the county. It can't be done, it cannot be done like a group insurance plan where the county is billed and then the county pays them. They have to have their own policy written by the county specifically for them. Did I explain that right?
Explain it the way it's explained to us, yeah.
Yeah.
They would just buy their own insurance, they could buy it from whoever they want to. Or not buy if they didn't want to, but at least we would provide them with the means of having the coverage that they've got now at a considerable less cost to us. So if anyone had any objections from the other two, I would ask Debbie to get a hold of Ken Over and then get that information to AJ, and then he could write up an ordinance, whatever we needed to pass at our next meeting.
No objection whatsoever.
Okay. Any patrons' concerns? None being, approval of the claims and the payroll.
Mr. President, I move we approve the claims and the payroll that the auditors presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the claims and the payroll. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. One more chance. Anybody else got anything they want to address the commissioners for? Now I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.